being you in the photo, being you on the website, being authentic in your business makes business easier. Because you don't have to hide behind this facade that you've created so that people will like you. The right people are going to like you anyway. And so when you're creating your brand in the first place, you should be thinking about, who am I serving? Yep. What is the problem that they have? Yep. And what do I have a solution for it?
Hey, I'm Stephanie Fager, and Empower is my middle name. Okay, well, not really, but it should be. I believe that empowered people empower people, and I'm obsessed with empowering you, the nonfiction author, with impactful marketing strategies to help you take your important message and share it with those who desperately need it, want it, and will buy it. As the owner and chief strategist of the Empower PR Group and the author of 2 books myself, I have merged my love for reading books and writing books and marketing books to help nonfiction authors like you with laser-focused strategies and tactics to write books that sell, promote books to those who need and want them most, and build meaningful businesses from empowering messages. Think of this as your one-stop shop for marketing insights from an author who has been there, done that, and understands exactly where you are. All right, so get your pens ready because I'm ready to empower you on all things photography. This is the Empowered Author Podcast. Our world has become an extremely visual one that makes us a bit more social per se, and now more than ever, photos aren't just important, they matter. From selfies to live photos to headshots and lifestyle branding, photography is a way that we tell stories. And for you, my author friend out there, I want to make sure you have what you need to tell your visual story in a way that complements your written one. This season of the Empowered Author Podcast focuses the lens on photography insights on everything you need to accompany your author branding efforts. Come on, we have a whole lot to talk about. Let's dive in. Chanel, when I get to this episode in the podcast season, I always get sad because it means we're almost done. But that's okay. There's so much good stuff. And I know just because the season is almost wrapped up, that doesn't mean that our work together is. Mm-hmm. In fact, we've been planning, quarterly photo shoots. It just so happens that is in alignment with the episode topic for today. Yep. Which what do you do with these photos? Mm-hmm. You walk away with a headshot, 5 photos, 30, whatever it is, a branding shoot, and then you're like, great! What's next? Jinx. But no, seriously, you've invested in beautiful photos. Yes. Branding photos, headshots, portraits, now I know all the things. Mm-hmm. But what do you do with them? And there's a lot of ways you can use them. Of course, as a marketer, I get excited about the potential. But whether you're working closely with someone that does marketing for a living or you have taken on that marketing hat, there are things that I want you to think about. Yep. Absolutely. And, of course, my very first one is website. So if you've listened to the season before this, season 4, it's on all things websites. And I want to start with the website because I see that as your digital business hub. Mm-hmm. You, my friend, have to have a studio because you take photos, you have to see people. Yes. But for most authors and not only their books, but the derivative work they do with their books, a storefront isn't required. Mm-hmm. But a digital storefront is. And that's where I think everything should start and end at your website. Mm-hmm. Photography, good photography, I have to add that caveat, differentiates a mediocre site and business with an exceptional site or business, whether or not the quality is different. Yes. Right? Absolutely. It just ups the game. Mm-hmm.
That's true. I think for website, the very first thing that you should do on your website is update the headshot. So typically we have a session that talks about the author, right? Mm-hmm. And so there should be a picture of you right there.
I had a friend, she's not an author, but she's in the business space, and she recently released her new website. And side note, y'all, your websites will never be done. Mm-hmm.
They're evolving. There's always something else to add or take away or change based on how your business and your brand evolves.
Yes, so don't ever feel like, oh, my website's done. Because once it's done, you need to redo it again. Or tweak it and adjust the messaging. But she did a refresh, and it was beautiful, but I noticed she used a lot of stock photography, which, I mean, again, no judgment here. It wasn't until the second or third page that I even saw a picture of her.
Right.
Like, we need to change that. Because in today's world, people want to see you. You know, your message, your book topic, I hate to break it to you, but it's not revolutionary and brand new that nobody has, like, heard of before.
Right.
I'm watching a Netflix or a Hulu show, The Great, which is really funny. I don't know if I should share that. It's kind of like telling people you watch Game of Thrones. Like, it comes with extra stuff, right? So The Great is like that too, but they are, it's based in, you know, years ago with the queens and monarchs and all this stuff. But it does acknowledge, like, when the printing press came and the sharing of ideas. So back in those days, that stuff was revolutionary. These are new ideas. They didn't even know what art was. Like, talks about some of those things. Today, when at your fingertips you have access to any and everything, I mean, it's not revolutionary, but what makes your book your message different is you. And if you're not on the website,
then it's just another book about whatever your topic is.
It's just another book on the topic.
I think that people buy from people. And so if I like you and what you're selling does anything for me, then I'm going to buy it.
If I don't, relationship marketing.
Yeah. If I like you, I'm buying it.
I know. And I would actually say the younger generation, like millennials, are more apt to do that too.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, I know that like baby boomers and other generations might spend a little bit more time researching, but in general, like, you know, millennials tend to be more trusting, but they care about the people and the cause connected to it. So, you know, your message, of course, matters, but when they see you and they're like, ooh, we jam, like we're in the same wavelength, they're going to be more apt to say, I don't care what she's buying, I'm down. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to question.
Yeah. I was searching online for a service the other day, and I looked at headshots, and I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is hideous. And I don't know if it's because I'm a headshot photographer or if it's just because, and I'm thinking it's just because this is the world we live in. And I was like, if you don't invest in your personal image, then what are you really doing?
So I have a confession to make too. Like, when I remember, I think on a previous episode I said I only work with awesome people. When I come across awesome people, I quickly go look at how awesome they are in the digital space. And if that isn't an alignment, then I don't feel an alignment. And and then I'll be like, oh. Or, you know, we've talked about this in the website season. If your copy is like so intense, and we've mentioned here, nobody's reading the website copy at the depth that we want them to. You know, the photos can make or break it. And I want to know, I want to know that. And we've said photos on websites are game changing.
Yep. A headshot of you. Looking at the camera, smiling, or just looking approachable, because especially if you're selling something that's a high ticket item. So maybe you're an author and a coach, or maybe you're an author and a speaker. If you're selling something that's a high ticket offer, they're already intimidated because you're asking them for a lot of money. And so being approachable and looking approachable, which usually means smiling, that makes a big difference. If you're on there and you got your smoldering GQ face on, then maybe you like, you know what, this might be a little bit out of my league. It's already more than I would comfortably just say yes to anyway. And now this person doesn't really look approachable or fun or all the things that would make me feel more comfortable in spending this money.
Yeah, like you want the photos on your website, like, will set the tone, but it also creates and begins the relationship. So I would say for sure, if you have these beautiful photos you've had taken and they're not on your website, you're missing a major big opportunity. And
another great place to put them is the header of the website. So as soon as, you have like, it might have changed, but it used to be like 8 seconds or 5 seconds or something when you land on somebody's website for them to tell you who they are, what they do, and who they do it for. And if you don't answer those questions immediately, then they click off the website and find somebody else. And so big part of that is having, so that's, a lot of people will have a stock image up there at the top. And if it is a stock image that you did with your photographer that has your book in it, that has your message in it, that tells some of your story, that's great.
Awesome.
You can keep that. If it's a stock image of a laptop and a watch that don't really make sense for what you got going on, then that doesn't contribute to that telling your story quickly in that 8-second time frame, you know?
Yep.
So a picture of you, or one of those good detail shots that we got in one of the previous we talked about in the previous episodes, those are great images to go at the top of the website because they help tell that story. And we only got a little bit of time to tell the story, so we can have a good headline. I'm sure they talked about that in the website, but we can have a good headline right there and a great picture right there. And then we've instantly made a connection in those 5 or 8 seconds. And then they're like, oh, I'm in the right spot. And then they keep looking. And then they see that picture of you and they say, oh, look, that's my kind of person. I like that. And then it might be, you know, I only want to work with women, you know. So
absolutely.
They'll see a picture of a woman on there. They're in the right space. I know now I get a lot of clients who call me and say, I was looking for a Black female photographer. What they specifically were looking for. And because I have my image on the website, they know that they found exactly what they wanted to support Black business. And so that's what they found. And so a lot of people try to hide on their website who they are. Don't do that, because people already know who they want to work with, the kind of people they want to work with. And you just show them yes or no. I'm the person you were looking for or not.
Be unapologetic.
And if it's not, that's okay, because somebody is going to land on there and fall in love with you, and they're going to be the beehive to your Beyonce, and it's going to be amazing.
So it has taken me a while to realize this, and I still have to coach myself on it. But when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Mm-hmm. So if you are attracting people and you're so focused on the revenue or the busyness that business brings, or I just want to speak at any place, so please, what you're doing when you say yes, what happens if this great opportunity comes you can't say yes to that is more in alignment? So it's my opinion, it's better to be unapologetically you all the time and live in a place where you believe in abundance. And that takes time. It's a mindset shift and mindset work. But if you realize the world is big enough to bring enough, I'll actually coin that. It's big enough to bring enough. You will always be fulfilled. Like, there is enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
So be you. I believe it too. And I've seen it in you. I've seen you manifest things. Just the other day, I was dealing with some mindset stuff. And then in my, which by the way, everybody deals with. And it doesn't fully go away. But the more you work on it, the quicker you get at moving past it. But that day I went and I was looking, I always check the junk in my email because you never know. And there was a new client opportunity sitting in my junk mail. I would never have seen it because for whatever reason, my email tagged it as junk. And I was like, why am I dealing with this? Because I had to make some shifts, and those shifts made open space where that would be perfect fit.
Yep, absolutely. I think just being you, we talked about it already, and being you in the photo, being you on the website, being authentic in your business makes business easier, because you don't have to hide behind this facade that you've created so that people will like you. The right people are going to like you anyway. And so when you're creating your brand in the first place, you should be thinking about, who am I serving? What is the problem that they have? And what do I have a solution for it?
I haven't read this book yet, but it's in my thing. It's called Effortless. It's a part of a book club that I'm a member of, or a part of. But it talks about how business can and should be easy. So if you're fighting it, maybe you're overthinking it, and maybe you're trying too hard in a different direction. Hey, Stephanie here, and I wanted to jump in and take a little bit of stress off of you. If you are planning an upcoming photo shoot for a headshot or a branding session, I'm sure you have enough to worry about already. Whether you like to be in front of the camera or not, one thing is certain: to take full advantage of your photo shoot, you want to be prepared. Chanel and I have a quick planning checklist with some tips for you to consider as you plan your next photo shoot, and we want to give that to you. So visit empowerprgroup.com/authorphotography to download it today. I am confident you'll find it extremely helpful. And a side note, it's what I use every time I'm prepping for a new author branding photo session myself. But enough about that. Let's get back to the conversation. You mentioned something though too, and I wanted to, and this takes me into the second thing, is marketing materials in general. Like website to me is the beginning of your marketing. It extends then into printed and digital marketing materials as well as your social media presence, and you want all of that to connect.
Yep.
Then so what you want your photography to be please do not have that selfie on LinkedIn when your website is crazy professional and you've got a beautiful one. Or I actually put a photo of me on the back of my business card that you took, and it's just an extension of
the brand. Yes. So everything that we do is an extension of our initial core branding that we came up with. And photography is no different than that. And so there are different printed materials that you can use. Authors are going to have the picture of the book. Or maybe you're doing a book fair type of event or something like that where you need to go somewhere and sell your book. So you might have one of those pop-up banners. That is an awesome place to put the picture of you. It's an awesome place to put the picture of the cover of your book. Better, it would be to put a picture of you holding the book. Right? And so it's those kind of things where we start thinking about, well, how am I going to use these images? And so when the day-to-day activities that you go to do to promote your book, most of the time it's going to be social media, right? If you are on Instagram, I feel like Twitter is maybe the only one where we don't use a bunch of photos, but you still have to have a profile picture, and they still have a cover page there too, right? So you want all of those places where you can show, they give you these spaces so that you can be aligned with whatever it is that you're talking about.
And make it easy. Like, don't overcomplicate this.
No, it can be simple, so you don't have to put a bunch of words or anything on the picture. You can, we talk about negative space, so there's opportunities to do that, but it's not necessary.
No.
If you have great images that represent your brand in the first place, pop it in the cover photo, pop it on the profile picture, and just let it go.
It's funny, a photo that you took in one of my branding sessions, I remember seeing it, I'm like, I like it, but I don't know how I'm going to use it. It was perfect for my LinkedIn background, because you know how skinny that thing is?
Yeah, it is.
And I'm like, what am I going to put in here? And it is a photo of a back, you'll have to go look, of you had stepped back and you took in me looking at books at the table and this whole space, and it had flowers, and we had set it all up, but you'd been doing really kind of focused closer shots, but taking it from the back, I actually cut my head off, okay? So it's not about me.
Yeah.
And it's on my business page, actually. So look at the business LinkedIn profile page. But it has me looking at books, and it's just next to a table. So it tells this story, and it's beautiful. I love that my head is cut off. It's not about me.
Right.
It's about me, but it's not about me. And so, but it's an extension, and it connects with everything else when it comes to everything you see socially. And when you look at Instagram, for instance, which is 100% photography.
Yeah. Well, it's got a lot of video now. Yes, it's going into that video realm. So
it is, and it is, and there's a place for video. I believe in video too. Yep. But for those, you have a beautiful opportunity to create and bring that your brand to visual life.
Create that cohesiveness.
Yes.
So they have that grid, and there are so many ways to make it pretty.
Let me put a caveat in here, because I spent a lot of time trying to make it pretty, and it was really pretty. And then I found myself focusing more on the pretty and not on the content. Not that the content wasn't good, but I was more focused on, I can't share this content yet because I need it to be pretty in my grid.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with myself and said, stop it.
Yeah.
That is a secret rule I have created. And I just decided now it can still be pretty.
And when you have brand images that match and are consistent, it's going to be pretty anyway.
It'll be pretty anyway. Yeah. So, there's a lot of ways you can use your photos. A marketing piece that I want to share is a speaker one sheet. That is something in this industry people talk about a lot. If you want to be in a podcast, want to do speaking engagements, a one sheet, which is actually a two sheet. It's a one sheet front and back, but digitally it's a two sheet. Yeah. That talks about you, your brand, your business, your book is big. I have seen, in addition to the pull up banners, a 18 by 24 foam core board. Someone did that for me at a speaking gig and gave it to me, and it had my headshot all up in it. There's lots of ways to use these, and See, and share them with whoever you're working with in your book journey.
Yep. I think, too, just changing your picture. Have you ever just changed your profile picture and then all of a sudden, oh, my God.
People see.
Stephanie, I miss you. You're beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know you were still doing this. And then, they go the whole... I change my profile picture once a month. So when I go to get my photos taken once a month, at the first of every month, I'm changing my profile picture because, that draws attention to my brand. And when I do it, I put my website on, if that's the caption. I say whatever I got to say, and I caption it with the link to my website, a call to action, because we got to have those calls to action. And I say, this is me. This is my brand. Go check me out.
Chanel's brilliant. I mean, your zone of genius is obviously photography, but you've got a lot of good marketing insights and tips, and that's a really good one. And it takes me into the final part that I want to talk about on this one is, when do you need to get new photos?
Minimum once a year that you should have a new photo shoot as an entrepreneur. And then I think that there are kind of some unspoken rules, right? Mm-hmm. If you gain some weight or lose some weight,
get a new photo.
You should need to get a new photo, right? Because we don't want to scare people, right?
You don't want to show up and not look like who they thought you were.
Exactly. So it's okay if you gain weight. It's okay if you lose weight.
Absolutely.
But we just want to photograph who you are right now in this moment, so that the purpose of the picture is that's your first impression. That's your first meeting, right? Before you actually meet somebody. And so you want to make sure that you're not catfishing people, okay?
I have to tell you about a podcast I'm listening to about catfishing. But yeah, no, I agree. You need to, that is pivotal. If you physically change and if your business evolves.
Yes. Yeah. When you work on a new project, so like Stephanie is doing this podcast thing, that wasn't something that she had going on when we first took pictures 3 years ago, right? No. So the pictures we took from 3 years ago won't reflect the story that she's trying to tell about her podcast. So that's a new opportunity for new photos that can tell a new story. And then the same with when we talked about appearance changes, another big one is hair. Like, you change your hair all the time, change your photo all the time.
Yeah.
Or even if you don't change it all the time, but you had this long, luscious hair and you chopped it all off, we need to see you with that chopped off hair, right?
Yes.
And it's going to look good, and we need to change it up. So different things like that create different opportunities to get a picture, and it might not be that you need the full branding picture again, right? And so some photographers offer mini sessions, and so you want to take advantage of those mini sessions where you can hop in and get just a few more images that will supplement until you are ready for the next big photo shoot. And so it could be that you just need a new headshot. Again, once a quarter you get a new headshot because it draws different attention every time you change those profile pictures. Or it could be that you got... Now you're doing merchandise to go along with your, because we haven't talked about that, because it's not just product. I mean, it's not just people photography, it's product photography too.
Absolutely.
So your book is a product, and you need to have great images of your book to sell that product on your website. And then if you do any other kind of merchandising, so maybe it's t-shirts, maybe it's mugs, or whatever you do to go along with the promotion of your book, those things have to be photographed, because nobody's buying a coffee mug that looks crazy. So the more that we can get those products in use in the photo session, the better off, because it's telling a story. And there's there's a place for that mock-up version of the photo, because e-commerce websites, we need those clean white backgrounds and stuff. And there's a place for it, but I wouldn't, that might not be the picture I put on Instagram to promote the fact that I'm selling these mugs. I want to show it in use. And so when you sell products, even the book, we're going to show the e-commerce version of it, the clean white background, but then we need to show it in use. So maybe somebody's holding the book and reading it.
Then they can see themselves in that.
Maybe you show it on a bookshelf or in a stack of books or something like that, because it makes a difference. Or like how you communicate it.
Like, so we're sitting in this room right now, and you've got this really beautiful, what do you call it? Chase. Mm-hmm. Chase, okay? And I could see an author sitting there with their Kindle and have the book cover up.
Yep. Absolutely.
That tells the story that the book is available in ebook format, right? Like, that is important if you want to push that, and if you're trying to reach, C-suite leaders that don't have time to read and they prefer listening to stuff on the go. That might be an option.
Yep.
Another thing that I think is important is, and that's why I've talked to you about, I really like seasonal photos, because as the seasons change, your attire changes. And if it is December and you're putting a photo out of you in a cute little cocktail dress, they're gonna, it's not that it's not a deal breaker,
right?
But it sure would be nicer if it is in alignment with the season.
I'll give you an example of that. I just had a politician come to get a headshot, right? And she brought in a turtleneck sweater, and I was like, you look great in the turtleneck sweater, but the election is not until the spring, so nobody's going to be wearing turtlenecks, and you're going to have that picture all over all the posters everywhere. And so we had to go with a different option, just because seasonally that didn't make sense. And so if your photographer doesn't tell you that during the photo shoot, like I did in this instance, then it'll be time for a new photo session when spring comes around and you still posting pictures of you in the turtleneck.
Or, and we say seasons, like literally the seasons, but it could be seasons in your career too. So, I tell people this, that for me, writing a book is an addiction. And once I've done one, now I'm going to do multiple. And if you're going to be addicted to something, might as well pick a healthy one. Okay.
Right.
So that and chai tea are my two addictions. As the next book comes, I need a new suite of photography to go along with it. You and I, there's a forthcoming book I've been working on, and it has a lot to do with the earthiness, and that's why we went to a florist. We've got beautiful photos that align with that. I'm working on, I get nervous putting it in the universe because that means I have to finish it.
Put it out there.
I've been working on a book that's in alignment with the marketing strategies that I provide. Well, when that book comes to life, my normal photos that align with they're not the same.
Yep, it's different.
Yes.
And, with books, each book has its own brand, right?
Absolutely.
So the Color Me Pretty is all bright and vibrant, and then we talked about the new book that's going to be more earthy. And so that different branding for different books means different branding for your photos and showing that off. So then, we might be using pink in one photo shoot and green in another photo shoot. Or you can do them all in the same photo shoot, but understand that the more time, more photos is a bigger investment. And maybe we can just separate those photo shoots into different projects and think about them. And it helps you to get prepared for those sessions because you're in a different mindset, because each book is different. So we're thinking about this one book, so we'll do this one project. So I like to break down photo shoots, like you said, seasonally, project based, and then just yearly. We need to do it anyway. I think if you are big on social media and that is the way that you are promoting and selling your book, then something like a quarterly photo session would be really helpful for you, because it allows you to refreshing your look more often, and then you have more images to post.
So many ways to use photos, and we just scratched the surface. There's still
a bunch more. Anything you do in business, you could incorporate your picture.
I can't imagine business without photos. So that needs to be something you never forget and that you don't take for granted. So thank you. Thank you for letting us pick your brain again. We have one more episode to go. And this one, we're going to go I think we've been talking in macro on a lot. We've given a lot of good ideas in the macro, but I want to go to the micro. I want to focus on the details and what types of photos we might be able to do that the author may or may not even be in it.
Right.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Can you make a promise to me? And I mean this for real. Don't get amazing author photos taken and let them sit on the shelf, or if you're like me or everybody else in today's digital world, let them sit in Dropbox or Google Drive collecting internet dust. There is little that pains me more than seeing this happen, and I see it happen regularly, unfortunately, especially when you have amazing photos to work with. Use them, leverage them, and incorporate them into your marketing efforts.
And don't be afraid to also get regular photos too. Actually, when you start to use the photos you have, you'll realize just how powerful photos are in the first place. And you might become like me and create a running list of all of the additional photos that you could use in your efforts. You actually might find yourself counting down the days until your next author photo shoot, so you have new options to incorporate into your book marketing efforts. We all know a photo is worth 1,000 words, and too bad, author friend out there, that the photo can't write 1,000 words for you. Am I right? The truth is that photos tell a story, and since you're in the business of storytelling, let's make sure that your author photography tells the right story. A story that aligns with who you are, what message you are sharing, and how people can work with you. Author photography can be game-changing in your marketing tools, a meaningful piece of your website, and a tool that you use in your visibility strategies. Chanel and I want you to get the most out of your photo shoot, so we've compiled a planning checklist to help take the stress out of planning your photo shoot and ensure that you are getting the most bang for your buck. Visit empowerprgroup.com/author photography to get that downloadable. And if you happen to be in the greater Louisville area or are willing to come to us, believe me, we have plenty of authors who do. We'd love to capture your story through meaningful photography. And if Kentucky is too far of a drive, no sweat. We are happy to do a photo planning consultation with you and your photographer to help you achieve the best results that you seek and that you need. We are ready to empower you as you embark on your author photography needs. Now remember, empowered people empower people. I've empowered you. Now, with photos to help you tell your meaningful story, it is your turn to empower others.